About 6 months ago, I sat down with a blank floor plan and a copy of Vitruvius's architectural writings from 2,000 years ago, and I asked a genuinely strange question. What if I translated the Roman domus, the most sophisticated residential floor plan the ancient world produced, directly into a modern steel frame barndominium? Not inspired by, not in the spirit of, literally translated, room by room, sequence by sequence, spatial principle by spatial principle. And what came out at the other end was the most interesting barndominium floor plan I've ever designed. Here's exactly what happened, and what it changed about how I think about barndominium design. If you want the ancient design principles applied directly to modern steel frame construction, subscribe to Barndominium Haven right now. Hit the bell. Stay till the cost section, because this floor plan costs more than a standard build, but significantly less than the spatial quality it produces would lead you to expect. Let me walk you through the Roman domus before I show you what it became in steel frame. The atrium section of the Roman domus. This central hall was the focal point of the entire house and was accessed from the fauces, a narrow passageway connecting to the streets, or the vestibulum. The atrium was the semi-public area primarily used for entertaining guests, and thus, typically, the most decorated section. The Roman domus had a sequence. You didn't walk from the street directly into the house. You walked through a specific series of spaces, each one with its own character, its own purpose, its own relationship to the spaces before and after it. The vestibulum, the entry threshold. The fauces, the narrow passageway. The atrium, the semi-public hall. The tablinum, the office or study. The peristylium, the private garden courtyard. The cubicula, the bedrooms. The triclinium, the dining room. The culina, the kitchen. 8 distinct spatial experiences in a single residential building. At the heart of the domus is the atrium, a central open space that often served as the primary living area. This area was usually adorned with an compluvium, a shallow basin designed to collect rainwater, and it functioned as a gathering point for family and guests alike. Beyond the atrium and tablinum lay the more private part of the house that was often centered around an open-air courtyard known as the peristyle. The central portion of the peristyle would be open to the sky and could be the site of a decorative garden, fountains, artwork, or a functional kitchen garden. 2 courtyards, one public, one private, one facing the entry, one facing the family. That sequence, the progression from public to private, through a deliberate series of spatial thresholds, is what I translated into the barndominium floor plan. The fauces was the narrow passage between the street and the atrium. The fauces, a narrow passageway connecting to the streets. Now, oddly enough, if we look closely, the atrium of the Roman domus didn't seem to have any window openings that faced the streets. This was probably because safety was still a primary concern of the well-to-do citizens of ancient Rome. No windows on the exterior, a narrow entry passage, privacy from the street built into the architecture. In the barndominium translation, the fauces becomes the entry vestibule, a real room, not a landing, not a 3-foot wide doorway, an 8 by 12 foot enclosed space between the exterior door and the first interior zone. Bench for boots, hooks for work gear, utility sink, a second interior door, creating the airlock. In every barndominium I've seen, from the rambling ranch-style house to the converted equipment storage barn, to the contractor's live-work compound, the entry condition is the most consistently underthought element of the design. People walk from the parking area directly into the kitchen. Mud follows them. Heat follows them. The outside world follows them. The Romans understood that the threshold between public and private needed to be a physical space, not just a door. In steel frame construction, this costs approximately $8,000 to $12,000 to build correctly. It's the highest return on daily quality of life, per dollar, of any element in this floor plan. After the fauces, the Roman visitor entered the atrium. The atrium was the semi-public area primarily used for entertaining guests. The compluvium, a conspicuous aperture, allowed for ventilation and the entry of rainwater, which was then collected in the floor-based cavity known as the impluvium and then passed on to underground cisterns for household usage. An opening in the roof, a pool in the floor, light from above, rainwater collected. In the Barndominium translation, the atrium becomes the first open interior volume, the double-height entry hall and living space, with a central skylight above it, the compluvium, and a water feature, or decorative pool element below it. The atrium in the Barndominium is not fully open to the sky, like the Roman original. It's a double-height clear-span space, with a fixed or operable skylight at its peak, admitting light from directly above to the center of the social space. The light at noon falls vertically into the room, the most beautiful natural light condition in residential design. The atrium's function, semi-public, for entertaining, the most decorated space, translates directly. This is where the living room lives, the dining space, the kitchen at the edge, the social heart, the most beautiful room, the double-height drama, and the skylight above, the compluvium, lighting it from directly above throughout the day. Behind the atrium, in the Roman domus, was the tablinum and then the peristylium. Located between the atrium and peristyle was the tablinum, an open living room that could be curtained off from public view. A hallway, or fauces, was positioned to one side of the tablinum to provide convenient access to the peristyle. The pars rustica would generally be off-limits to business clients and served as the focus of the family life of the house. The central portion of the peristyle would be open to the sky and could be the site of a decorative garden, fountains, artwork, or a functional kitchen garden, or a combination of these elements. The private courtyard, off-limits to visitors, the family space, the garden, the kitchen garden. In the Barndominium translation, the peristylium becomes the enclosed rear courtyard, the O-shaped perimeter's interior garden, surrounded on all four sides by the private wing of the building. Where the atrium is double height and dramatic, the peristylium courtyard is human scale and intimate. Lower surrounding walls, dense planting, a water feature, a place to eat outside without being visible from the street or from anywhere that isn't inside the building. The Roman tablinum, the office between the atrium and peristylium, becomes the home office positioned at the building's transitional point, visible from the social zone behind it, connected to the private garden in front of it, the working space that mediates between the public life of the atrium and the private life of the peristylium garden. Here's what the floor plan actually looks like. Entry vestibule, fauces, at the front, 8 by 12 feet, airlock, thermal buffer, atrium, the social heart, immediately beyond the vestibule, double height, 26 by 26 feet, central skylight, kitchen on the east wall, dining on the west, living at the center, home office, tablinum, at the atrium's rear wall, 12 by 14 feet, glassed on the atrium side, open to the peristylium on the other, and then, through the tablinum, the peristylium courtyard, surrounded on three sides by the private wing of the building. Bedrooms on the left, bathrooms at the rear, utility and laundry on the right, and opening back toward the atrium wing at the front. Total conditioned space, approximately 2,400 square feet, plus the peristylium courtyard, approximately 600 square feet. Total roofed area, approximately 3,000 square feet. The sequence from entry to bedroom, vestibule, atrium, tablinum, peristylium colonnade, bedroom wing, is 6 distinct spatial transitions. In a conventional barndominium, you have 1. The door. My favorite feature. The view from the tablinum back through the atrium to the entry. Here's what I mean. Standing in the home office, the tablinum, you can see through the glass wall behind you, through the full length of the atrium, through the entry vestibule, to the exterior door. The entire public sequence of the building, 40 to 50 feet of spatial depth, visible from the desk. The atrium was the focal point of the entire house, accessed from the fauces, the narrow passageway connecting to the streets. In the Roman domus, the paterfamilias sat in the tablinum and could see who was entering the house from the street. In the 2026 barndominium version, you can see from your desk whether someone's at the door without a doorbell camera. The building's spatial sequence is doing the surveillance work, not because it was designed as a surveillance system, because the Romans understood that the person who needed to know who was entering the building needed a clear sightline from their workspace to the entry. 2,000 years ago, still true. The mistake, reversing the sequence. Here's what happens every time someone tries to adapt the Roman domus concept to a barndominium and gets it wrong. They put the peristylium courtyard at the front of the building, the first thing you see when you approach, and the atrium at the rear. It seems logical. The courtyard as a grand entry statement. But it breaks the Roman sequence completely. The atrium of the Roman domus didn't seem to have any window openings that faced the streets. This was probably because safety was still a primary concern. The Roman domus deliberately hid its courtyard from the street. The public face was blank. The garden was private. You had to earn access to the peristylium by passing through the atrium first. When you put the courtyard at the front, the private garden becomes a street feature. It's no longer private. It's a front yard with walls. The spatial sequence, public to private, through a series of thresholds, is destroyed. Keep the sequence. Fauces first, atrium second, peristylium behind. That order is 2,000 years of proven spatial intelligence. Don't reverse it for a dramatic curb appeal moment. Real numbers. 2026 mid-cost markets. Roman sequence barndominium. Asymmetric L+O configuration. Atrium wing plus peristylium ring. Approximately 2,400 square feet conditioned space. 600 square foot peristylium courtyard. Steel kit. Atrium wing with double height clear span. Peristylium ring with 4 junction conditions. $72,000 to $108,000. Structural engineering. Double height atrium. Courtyard junctions. $7,500 to $12,000. Foundation. $28,000 to $42,000. Atrium skylight. Compluvium. Central glazed opening. Thermally broken aluminum frame. $14,000 to $22,000. Closed cell spray foam. $28,000 to $42,000. Entry vestibule construction. Fauces. With airlock doors. Utility sink. $9,000 to $14,000. Tablinum home office. Glazed partition to atrium. $8,000 to $13,000. Peristylium courtyard development. Colonnade, planting, water feature, paving. $22,000. Plumbing. $18,000 to $22,000. Feek. 3-zone. $12,000 to $18,000. Septic. $10,000 to $16,000. Well, $8,500 to $13,000. Interior finishes, $38,000 to $58,000. Contingency, 15%, $42,000 to $65,000. Total realistic build cost, $332,000. Fully finished. Mid-cost U.S. market, 2026. per square foot of conditioned space, $42,000. The Roman sequence premium above a standard rectangular barndominium of equivalent floor area, approximately $60,000 to $100,000, buys you 6 spatial transitions instead of 1, a double-height atrium with a central skylight, an enclosed private peristylium garden, and a floor plan sequence that 2,000 years of architectural refinement proved works better than anything designed since. Here's what happened when I merged 2,000 years of Roman architectural history into one barndominium floor plan. The building became more than a house. It became a sequence. The Roman domus included spaces for entering, moving through, receiving guests, overlooking, separating private and public areas, and retiring. Entering, moving through, receiving guests, separating public and private, retiring. Every single one of those spatial functions is present in the barndominium that came out of this exercise, not as rooms with names, as experiences that the floor plan creates automatically, because the sequence is built into the layout. The conventional barndominium, the rectangular kit, the direct entry to the kitchen, the open plan from front door to back wall, is one spatial experience, front to back. One zone, one character. The Roman sequence barndominium is 6, and moving through 6 genuinely different spatial experiences within one house changes how the house feels to live in a way that square footage, ceiling height, and finish level never fully compensate for. That's what happened when I translated 2,000 years of Roman history into a barndominium floor plan. The house became worth moving through. Subscribe to Barndominium Haven. Tell me in the comments, which of the 6 Roman spatial elements resonates most with you? I want to know, and I'll see you in the next one.